It's the verdict time again, and who needs 15 players when you can beat the European champions with only 14 men on the field? It's been 20 years since the French has beaten the Springboks in Paris. Astonishing. Incredible performance from the Boks. It's been 10 tests now, the 9th time in 10 tests that the Boks have beaten the French. The only loss was in 2022 in Marseille. 32 points to 17 win for the Boks on the weekend. An incredible game, lots of drama. Fleck and Rito, we had to stay up late to watch that one. Your initial thoughts on that performance?
Yeah, John, masterclass, a coaching masterclass, and a physical, contribution from the team across the park that I have not seen in a long time. So, masterclass performance from everyone involved.
Rito, just your views on that?
Yeah, I thought the Boks did really, really well. Just to concur with Flecky, coaching masterclass. You could see they were playing for everything. They playing with one-man short. So it was really impressive.
You were also impressive last week, and that's why you invited me.
well, I better be impressive again.
Yes, you better. Have you heard anything from Shimmy or Skulk by any chance? Because I haven't heard anything, and I'm sure that their performance Saturday night would also have been masterclass.
Absolutely. Well, Shimmy just said I must sit upright next time I come to the show.
Okay.
That's all he said.
We thought that the Boks would have advantage, Flecky, but the way that we were able to mitigate the one-man short, the way we were able to kind of grind away at it for 60, 65 minutes and then getting the benefit at the end, this team just impresses every time they take to the field.
Look, John, watching the game on the 14th, 15th minute mark, I could see there was already trouble, signs of trouble for the French. And, we, regardless of the fact that we went one man down, even if we went two men down, South Africa still would have won that game. There were signs, telltale signs. And like Rito said, just across the board, the planning that went into that game, the tactics, and even though the French actually looked to do similar tactics to us, just our execution and our ability to play our plan at an intensity that no one can match at the moment. And look, can you imagine if we had all 15 on the field and then, Rassie and the coaches could put an exact plan together, a pre-planned plan of, how to put that bench on. Because our bench compared to theirs was just incredible. They went 6-2, we had a 6-2 or 5-3, whatever it is.
5.5, 2.5.
5.5, 2.5. But, under the pressure, and like you say, they probably had plans in place already with one man down, and because Rassie was quoted as saying, the game is going to be incredibly physical, so there could potentially be a red card. The plans were perfect. And the execution even better.
So, Rita, from your point of view, as a former lock as well, did you fear that when Lood was given his marching orders with more than half the game left, that our performance would decline, or were you kind of confident that we'd have answers to the questions that the French would throw our way?
No, I think as tough as it looked, and that substitution of Sia at halftime was probably the right call. You don't want to lose your line out in the second half, and you could see we still scored a more try, all of that. So I thought it was the right decision to bring in Ruan Nokia at halftime. Yeah. So I thought it balanced out the game. Otherwise, then you go into the second half, you lose 2-3 lineouts. Next thing you're defending in your 22. So right call, and I thought it balanced things out. He brought in extra work rate as well, which was perfect.
You speak about the work rate. Do you think, so obviously we've played, I think, 11 test matches this year together as a team. The French last played together, well, let's say the vast majority of this squad last played together in March. Because they send a weakened team, with all respect, due respect, to New Zealand. Do you think that had an effect in the the fitness during the game, the last 30 minutes, our impact versus their impact?
Yeah, look, I mean, there's an argument, I guess, in the Irish test versus New Zealand. Remember, there was that argument that the Irish players couldn't handle the last 15, 20 minutes of that game, and New Zealand took it to another level. in terms of the intensity, and it certainly looked like it. And then, you know, the reports afterwards, well, they were a little bit underdone, and they didn't have the prep, you know, going into this game. And look, the same could be said for, you know, the French players now, because they didn't really have a test match, you know, building into this. But I think it's got to do with our tactics and our plans, you know, the way we play. We are just gassing the packs of the opposition. They just cannot handle the tactics that we throw in them, and the physicality and the intensity that comes with it. So that's why I say, you know, you can't say that a team is, you know, unfit after 15 minutes. I mean, they surely, every player should be able to handle it. It's the tactics at the moment that is taking everything out of the opposition at the moment, and that's what's why this team is so good at the moment.
And putting the opposition under so much pressure. You speak about them being gassed. You speak about potentially, you know, an Irish team being underdone. Does this also then speak to the way that, call it being how professional we are, for lack of a better word, in terms of our preparation? Because remember, the Japan game was never part of our schedule, but it was purely because we saw the French game being such an important one that we needed 100%. That kind of preparation. And again, just and you know, you probably just don't have a better word, the brilliance of Rassie and his prep for this team.
Yeah, you can see with this team, Jean, they plan for everything. Worst case scenario, they plan, this is when we're going to train, these are the guys that are going to play. I'm sure that team pre-selected, if I may say. You know, everyone knows when they're going to play, everyone's so aligned, everyone's on the same page, and so that always gives us an upper hand. And it goes back onto the field as well. Last week I spoke about the discipline of Sacha sticking to the plan. The forwards know if the ball is kicked too far, they don't have to work hard that much. Hill's going to kick it back. So all of these things interlink.
Yeah, I would agree with it. And John, you know, the planning is perfect, and yes, the extra game gives them the extra edge going into that French game, as you say. But I did chat to Damon DeLinde, and he said during the time building up even into the earlier games against New Zealand and Australia and coming into they've never trained this hard, ever. He said the intensity was on another level. Rassie was pushing them to take their game to another level. So to your point, it's a bit of planning, but certainly the way they're training and preparing to play, the intensity's gone to another level.
Yeah, and it's not just having another session added the week prior to the game. The preparation starts 4 months ago. You know, and working towards that, and it really is the brilliance of Rassie. Quick word on Rassie: 50th Test match, Sia 100th Test match. As a coach, both of you as coaches, you know, just the relationship between a captain and coach, and also just a word on both of those individuals.
Yeah, on the relationship, I mean, that relationship started way back at school time, you know, when Rassie went and
scouted him
and brought him to Western Province. So the relationship started with Sia when Sia was, you know, 17 years old.
15 years ago,
Exactly, and it's been on since then, you know. So you know, firstly the relationship is solid. There's a lot of trust that goes into that relationship, and both they've gone through some testing times as both players and coaches, and they've worked incredibly well together. So that's the best part of it, is the relationship. On an individual basis, I mean, obviously had Sia, what an incredible human, first and foremost. He deserves the 100 caps. For me, he's the form flank, you know, in South Africa in terms of his position, and he's deserved every single cap in that regard. And he's the best leader we've ever had from a, sorry, Jean, but he is the best.
Don't worry, I agree.
He lost to Japan, but he's, you know, he's our leader, and he's been phenomenal. And then obviously Rassie, you know, he's been around a long time. So 50 caps, you know, congratulations to him as well.
Rito, from your point of view,
look,
also you've worked with Sia, Rassie, and also again that, you know, that decision to take Sia off at half time.
Relationship.
You know, it's tough. 100th Test match, you know. I don't think a lot of coaches in the world would even, you know, make a call like that on such an influential individual, not influential rugby player and captain, but influential person.
Yeah, I think it goes back to trust and the fact that these guys have known each other for a long time. And probably Rassie is probably one of the only coaches that would have known how to approach that situation. I know he says he said it in front of the team, but he would have known how to say it perfectly. Sia, okay, we're going to put you on the side in a way that Sia would sort of accept. Because he's a good guy as well. As tough as it is, Rassie, because of the relationship, would have said it in a very sort of respectful, in a way that Sia understands. And because of they've built that relationship over years, probably makes it a little bit easier. It's still a tough sort of decision to make. But going back to Rassie, I mean, you know, I've had the privilege.
Yes.
That's the word I'm looking for. To have worked with him, a little bit smart guy. You know, that's probably the first thing that sort of excited me about him. Always thinks ahead, always prepared. And I think, you know, we can see it in how the team is playing at the moment.
Yeah, just it is phenomenal. It's a beautiful relationship between the two of them, and they've just got. I just think it's such an unbelievable bunch of human beings together. The way that they play, the way they perform. Every single guy that goes onto the field delivers. Every single person part of that coaching team adds value to that group.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just one guy.
No.
You know, those are the two guys at the forefront, but they also understand that they do have weaknesses, and the rest of the squad adds to that and fills the gaps where they might not have the expertise. So it's brilliant. And, you know, a leader from Sia's point of view, sometimes a leader needs to stand back.
Yeah.
And he was willing to stand back. And it speaks volumes about the individual. And 100 tests up for Sia Kolisi. Sia, congratulations! What a unbelievable human. Guys, it is wonderful news for all Boks fans around the globe that we got that win. But for two guys, that it's not such a great thing. The win is great, but the betting element. So we had Joe van Niekerk on the Boks Unpacked, and Joe and Scala, you know, they weren't that confident with the Boks. They said Boks would win, but only by 1 point or 1-7. And I said Boks by 8-15.
I'll let you.
All right.
8-15, guys.
No, you can't say that.
Why?
I said by 12.
I said by 8-15 because I knew. I knew what was going to happen. So what happened? When you are brave, when you are bold, and when you are confident, Rito, this is what happened. And I predicted 8-15. So it means I have now surged to the top of our little competition with the betting with 4,450 rands, with Shimmy in second place at 3,559 rand, and Skulk is back at the bottom where he belongs with 3,085 rand. Okay, guys, we'll get more information from them in terms of that their celebrations after that performance. And I'm sure the money was spent in any case for that night in Paris. But let's get into the actual game. Now, when you have a game like this, you know that it'll come down to you know, small decisions within the game, small margins within the game, and having to really execute well. And the way that we started this game, we always knew that the kicking game would be important, but the way we started it, you know, we apply so much pressure with our kicking game.
Yeah, look, it's clear intent already from the get-go. Kobus Reinach, I felt was phenomenal in this game, but they straight away winning the collision in the air, Cheslin, and immediately on the front foot with an attacking kick in behind into that space.
Yeah.
So that's the plan. You know, we've been talking a lot about our aerial game at the moment, how we're beating every single side in the world at the moment. But these little tactical attacking kicks in behind the opposition is the nice addition to the way we play.
Yeah. Just to add on that, we spoke earlier about the pack. So think about the French pack now. They started on the 50-meter line, kick off, they run forward, and all of a sudden, they have to run another. You know what I mean? Now they have to run all the way back. If you look at their body language, it's almost like a bleep test, right? They've already turned. We've just run straight. You know, so that already starts on adding on the pressure and building a bit of fatigue.
Because that is exactly what you're saying. With our kicking game, we are applying pressure, but we're also fatiguing the opposition. And what you're saying there, they had to run the shuttle to the 20-meter line. Now they have to run back again to the halfway line. And when we talk about shape of our team, look at the shape we're already in. Okay, you've caught the ball here. All these guys in motion. You've got the option of Kirtley there for the cross kick, but he's identified the space over there, and eventually we just kick it there, and it's a great start to the game. We won't look at the kick now, but obviously we know that was executed on the day. Now, it wasn't a perfect start for us either. with the first time that the French actually got the ball, they scored the try.
So, Jean, just from a technical point of view, and we may have to just track it back because it's key where Sacha's involved. So this actually comes from a line out. And if you go back to the first tackle in the first line, if you stop it there, so Sacha's in and around that first breakdown, okay? So he's on the deck. So normally what happens is that the 9, which is Reinach, he's in the backfield there. He's got to wait on the blind side until a centre or Sacha splits out, and joins into that blindside defence, or can sink back into backfield. But as you play it on, you'll see Sacha come out.
And sorry, Fleck, just also to note, so Damien Willems as fullback is here, so he's kind of covering this space. Half of the
But now Sacha's role is to go into backfield. There he comes, but he doesn't. So he's supposed to stop. He's supposed to go in behind into the backfield to cover the kick.
Yeah.
But now he's followed the ball. Reinach has followed the ball. And now we're all on one side of the field. And now, great vision from
Ramos
to expose that. And that's the defensive lapse here.
Because in a perfect world, we'd want Reinach just to cover kind of this middle area, a little bit flatter. Yeah. You have Sacha over there, and he covers this space.
And you've covered everything, yeah.
Because Kurt Lee,
has to be front line.
He checks, but then once they start attacking this side, he needs to come up to full.
Well, you see, basically, he's marking 3 guys there on the touchline, so he has to stay in the front line, So there, we're even a number short.
Yeah.
And that's, so it's brilliant from there. And this is a tactic that was quite evident from the French. They did it once or twice, well, more than once or twice, trying to expose us in that regard.
I mean, Penno, just with his try scoring a bit, they've got proper wingers. B.A. was didn't get that much ball, but look there, 39 tries in 57 caps. We'll see the try later as well, where he goes to 40. The space, identifying the space from Ramos, then get the ball into space, identifying it at the back, and the execution perfect as well.
And that's an easy fix, John. Rassie and the defence coaches will look at it and go, guys, listen, don't panic. That's just an error from 1 or 2 individual players, and we were just out of system there.
Yeah.
We won't get exposed again like that.
Yeah, I think it's a simple one, Fleck. You remember back in the day, Jean, if you made a tackle, you always recycled to the blind.
Yes.
Because everyone's folding.
Yeah.
And that's all that Sacha had to do, recycle, sort of drop back
Sink
to the other
backfield,
side.
Yeah, 100%.
First scrum of the game. Rito, your feelings just about the scrum, and then maybe let me pause it here, and then you could see the French also. We always spoke about the physicality of this encounter. And the French being the one team that can actually match us physically. Yeah. We went quite direct in this phase, so we can speak about the scrum, but also being direct and them actually winning this first battle in terms of the physicality and then getting the turnover.
Yeah, we always knew the scrum was going to be a massive challenge. And if you looked here, the ref asked him to call because Thomas dropped to his knee, then he doesn't want to reward you on that.
Actually, just on that, isn't that just a straight penalty to France?
It should be.
It should be, right?
Yeah.
Because, if you look there...
And he actually warned him, because in the previous scrum we had dominance and it should have been a penalty to us, but he said your knee dropped, so it actually should be a penalty.
What helps him there is that he didn't go backwards. On the head, it was like he goes forward, then he loses his knee a bit. But if the picture had been slightly different in terms of him not taking the hit, probably straight penalty. So the refs would sort of look at that and say, look, he didn't receive that much pressure that forced him to drop his knee. He just didn't chase his feet as well.
But surely, Rito, and again, I've never been in a scrum. Well, I have actually been on the flag a little bit. Isn't the interpretation of the law that once your knee touches the ground, as Alou said, or tight, it's a straight penalty, irrelevant of whether you're going forwards or back?
Well, it's just like the scrum fit in the middle of the scrum. It goes down to the ref. No one, you know what I mean? Let's let the game continue and all of that. But the French coach has a right to complain. He's good job. You know what I mean?
So, and to your point on the physicality side of things, they've selected a very big French side with the intent to, carry hard, put us under pressure, get some momentum, and obviously, attack us at that breakdown, which New Zealand did successfully in Italy early in the year. And, these collisions happen. They are going to win 1 or 2, but it wasn't often. because they didn't get there in time later on in the game because they were so gassed.
Yeah, but in terms of the start of the game, certainly
great.
showing the intent,
they
some
showed
of our
the-
big, Ibn being the kind of enforcer as well, some of our big carriers, tackling them back and then getting that penalty.
Absolutely, but for me, Jean, we always talk about slow poison. 7 minutes into the game, scrum straight to defending into your 22. If we look at the big picture, we want that pack to tire. So now we've got them into a scrum battle, force them to work around to make 4 or 5 tackles. We're gaining and slowly
Kicking in behind them, they're
Exactly.
chasing. Yep.
in due time they will start feeling the pressure and they'll start fatiguing.
Well, they did start to feel the pressure eventually. We'll take a quick break and show you how we were able to break them down even further and a bit of in-depth into all the tries being scored.
Cody from Paul has sold multiple vehicles to WeBuyCars. Suspicious? I think so.
Is that a crime?
No. Where are you getting the cars?
I buy them and I sell them at the spot like a normal person.
Okay.
No, man, I'm just an accounting student. I know a good deal when I see one.
That's Excel. Meant. What's more stressful, tax season or selling a car at WeBuyCars?
Tax season, obviously.
WeBuyCars, the easiest way to sell your car by far.
Okay, Jane, so we spoke about the physicality in the start to the game, France showing their intent as well in terms of that. I think one benefit that we have with someone like whether it's a Pollard or whether it's a Sacha on the field is also being able to score points even though you're not even in the half of the opposition. Okay, it's just about in the opposition half, but the ability to get points on the board so far out, that's a massive weapon. It kind of gives, Franz Steyn vibes back in 07 where, you can be 60 meters out and still be ahead on the... You don't even get into the half of the opposition and you can win the game.
Yeah, Jean, I mean, it's to have somebody who can kick distance like this. I mean, I remember watching you guys with France saying how many test matches you won, tactically working to get penalties at certain areas of the field so you can slot them over. I mean, it's a massive weapon, Now, again, how do you defend South Africa?
Yeah.
You can't rest, there's no time to chill. Just, there are threats everywhere.
Yeah. And I suppose for Sacha as well, because I think, was it 8 or 10 points that we missed at goal? It's not perfect, but at least we know that he's got the ability to do that. He will, kicking is the one thing. Yeah, kicking is the one thing where if you kick more, your accuracy will go up. Yeah. But I just thought, sure, what was that? I think it was 55 meters on the angle, slotting that. The confidence to again say, give me the ball, I'm going to kick it, knowing that you can do it. Lovely kick.
Sure,
Very good.
Because you apply pressure, but we always speak about the scoreboard pressure as well, and that adds to the scoreboard pressure. Again, our kicking game.
Kicking game, yeah. Reinach.
Spot on. And you might not win it immediately there, but look at where we end up with this.
And look where the French forwards are again, to Rito's point. They're back in their own half. They're working backwards, have to clean up that ruck. Now they have to go on the front foot again. And the pressure comes, and now suddenly we get the ball inside their 10.
Yeah, I mean it's so simple.
Yeah.
But it takes time to get confidence in being able to do that. Your execution needs to be spot on, and also the work rate of the team, understanding that what the plan is. It takes time to be comfortable with that.
Yeah, Jean, the box kick, very accurate from your 22. Now you end up in the opposition half. The chase is very impressive for me. It's either they contesting the ball or they tackling you as you catch it. So now, as to Flecky's point, it's not going to be catch and kick it back so your forwards can rest in that middle. They have to work back because there's an offside line now, which makes a massive difference. So all those kicks that travel 30, 40 meters, and then there's a breakdown in that area, makes it really tough for the pack to actually get into position or keep that consistency of working forwards and backwards. So
it is tiring them down, Rito, but also Flecky. We were sharp, and we see it later on in the game as well in terms of identifying the space in the backfield for them, because now we can maul, We've got plays from the line out as
Sliding,
well.
yeah.
And now we're adding another element to it. Not just kicking from 10, but kicking one channel wider as well.
Yeah, and it's just changing the picture the whole time, John. So France cannot, identify where we are going. We're going into the vacuum, we're going through the mall, then we're coming around the corner, then we're going to width, now we're kicking in behind them. Where do you defend us? And it doesn't matter that it doesn't come off for us. You know what I mean? It's just constantly having the pressure on the back three or on the front line, changing the picture so that they tactically don't know how to defend us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jean, I know I always go back to the pack. So if you look at that picture, look
They're
at the
all
French
turning
pack.
around.
They're turning.
Yeah.
It's tough. From a line out, now you have to turn and run back.
We're running forward.
Yeah, exactly.
And they have to exit now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but also again, the plan is the right one. The execution was poor in terms of the kick, a little bit too long. But I mean, if you look at that space,
Yeah.
there's massive space there. Once the ball touches the ground, it's anyone's game. It bounces and check. Our speedster's
past
going
them.
through there.
Yeah. Again, it doesn't matter that it didn't work out. It's just changing that picture all
Yeah.
the time.
Just a little bit short, and suddenly, even there, it could so easily have just bounced back into one of our chasers' hands. Again, scrum wise,
Is this the one who got the penalty, yeah?
yeah,
Yeah, I thought we did well. You can
Body
see
height.
marks there. That's Thomas. Good body height, but the pressure on the hooker not to get a full hook
Yes.
made a massive difference. And you've seen these warm-up drills that Don is always doing, and fire. As the ball comes in, as the hooker wants to put his foot up, they attacked him, which was really effective in that case.
so that's that's 12 minutes into the game, and a penalty for us at scrum time that alleviates pressure as well. You're able to kick a goal, get another 3 points. That weapon for us, are we? We speak about it a lot, but are we still underestimating the value that we have with our scrum?
A scrum can easily win you a game and lose you a game.
Yeah.
And I think we all understand how good our scrum is, and everyone only talks about scrummaging now.
Yeah.
Even you guys now, the background players, it's like, take a scrum.
Because it's Flecky, like, that's that's 6 points a game for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not just 6 points a game, it's probably 10% in terms of territory during a game as well.
And the cycle.
Look, from a coaching point of view, Jean, from a UCT, we've always had this way that we want to play the game, but we've never had a solid scrum, so to speak, to get us out of tricky situations from an exit point of view or win us critical penalties when we're in the right areas. And we had Zach Porthen as our tight head this year. He basically won us that final. Yes, we played this elaborate game of rugby, but because we had a scrum, all of a sudden we're on another sort of level in terms of winning a competition.
Is that Zach Porthen that played for you at the start of the year in the Varsity Cup that's now a Springbok? I'm just checking. Same guy.
But Rito made him this player.
Just the contrasting styles in terms of the kicking game. Look at Legarak kicking from the base here. Yes, they've got a decent chase going, but again, speaking towards their forwards and having to run Rito, they kick it long. Reinach catches it and immediately plays Damian Willemse. We kick it contestable again, and they're under pressure, basically the same part of the field.
Look at the forwards.
Yeah.
Look how slow they
On the ground.
get up from the ground. They can't get into that. Look at that chase line. We could have even run that back.
Exactly.
It's 16 minutes in, and that the French pack is done.
What makes it really good there is that when Damien kicks it, you've got the 5 lock, the heaviest guy on the pitch,
Competing
for that kick.
That's
Your
what
height won't help you there. You have to be agile, explosive, and we get that ball back. Look how many of them haven't managed to get into the line.
But Rito, he shouldn't even be there.
No, he
lock.
shouldn't.
He should
No.
be in the front chase line.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's so tired that he's at the back.
Absolutely.
And I suppose that forces you into doing stupid things as well. The
mistakes,
tackle on
penalties.
Eben there, Miafo again, after competing, entering that
100%.
tackle situation from an offside position. It again speaks to our plan, what we wanted to do, wanting to tire them, and you might not necessarily get the reward immediately, but certainly in the last few minutes of the game, we saw that reward. Now, we missed the kick at goal. Again, like I said, Damien not perfect, missed the kick at goal. Eventually, they get back into the game. They get a penalty. They do not decide to kick at goal. Ramos being so accurate, rather saying, let's have a go. And the execution after this maul from the background was brilliant, Fleck.
Again, just, it's brilliant, French play or French flair, whatever you want to call it. And for me, we've been the dominant side in that first half, although we're behind on the scoreboard. But this is just skill and execution. 2 brilliant passes, Intermac, Ramos. I mean, Jean, that's not an easy pass.
No, it's a great pass.
It's an unbelievable pass. And on the run and to bullet through like that. But that you need to stand and say, that's brilliant play from the French. But that's where it basically ends for me.
Yeah, if you look at that line out, they did that sort of no jumping throw, and that forced all our forwards to get into that, try to stop that maul. And then all the backs now got tight. And then obviously they used good skills. If you look at that, now we're really tight. That's
a key pass.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
changes the picture because all the forwards were in there. Yeah.
And Intermac not actually going forward, standing still, getting the pass so that it buys him time to be able to get the pass away.
And I guess, John, we are going to get exposed once or twice. Our defensive system is to come hard off the line, and we win more battles than most. So it's you just have to stand up and applaud great execution and skill set from the French players there.
30 minutes in Rito, Boan Venter going off. I thought he was pretty good. Well, I thought we got the reward from a scrum point of view. Just the thinking behind that. If you can try get into Rassie's head.
Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, if you've got 2 loose head props, which one would you want to play more? Probably the experienced one.
Yeah.
And in this case for us, it's just unusual that it happens in the first half. But Boan Venter, last 30 minutes, it's the same thing. Now you're just giving Gerard Steenkamp more time. So I think if we look at it that way, it's probably a very smart decision. Let the more experienced guy play longer, and then you just play around when.
Yeah, whether you start him or whether because it's kind of the prop sharing the load from 100%. A 50 minutes and 30 minutes point of view. Now it's just saying, okay, well, do you play the 31st or do you play the 51st, and kind of move it like that. You can see, Dwayne Vermeulen had a proper conversation with him, probably just explaining the situation. And most probably, Boan Venter probably knew.
Exactly.
He probably knew also that he'd only go 30, 35.
Yeah, I would say he knew. And it's just one of those things that we're not used to. Players usually probably want to play past half time. But, I mean, with Rassie, I'm sure Boan knew that you're just going to play 30 minutes. It's just the first 30. So it's okay, I think.
And then that is the first scrum after the substitution. What do we get? Penalty advantage. And now you got a free go at it.
Yeah. So I mean, we talk about that scrum. So we're talking about how tired that pack is starting to look now. 30 minutes in, 32 minutes, now there's a fresh prop. Now you've got a scrum against a fresh guy.
Exactly.
All compounds.
And to your point on John and both Rito, that pack is done now. We've collapsed that scrum. Okay, we've got the penalty. That the front row of the French is slow to get up. And here's a defensive error, big time for me, is that most systems, and Rito, you lock and you do deal with the forwards, but both those locks should be folding into that short side near that ruck.
Yeah.
But the 5 lock or the 4 lock is now gone onto the touchline. And that's the 5, and there's the 4.
Yeah, 4 is there. Thibaut Flamand is covering the
exactly. And there was a previous scrum where he actually did the same thing, which is quite strange, So they've sent both, all 3 loose forwards around the corner, and they're expecting the open side lock to defend, guard, and then their front row to fill that space.
Yeah.
But that's a massive risk, wouldn't you say, Rito?
Massive.
And obviously, Kobus has just noticed that they're so late to get there. They're fatigued. They've come from a collapsed scrum, and he's gone for it. But I don't know if it's a combination of the fatigue and a poor sort of defensive system, or no one's on the same page. But surely that lock has to be there to close that space.
No, absolutely. I think more fatigue than anything. They imagine that heavy scrum set, and now quick ball back into the breakdown, into the blind side. It's always tough to close that. But you can't expect the
your
prop.
tight prop to get there.
Because he's still in there. The lock comes out first.
Yeah.
He's meant to close into that space.
So you just saw how late the prop was there.
No, there's no.
But and there's the lock, Jean, he should be in that space.
In that position.
But you know why? Is he making that decision because he's just fatigued, or was it a planned situation?
But there's, even if that lock had made it there, then the props would be on the outside. There's no good answers waiting for France here.
Yeah.
They probably should have had like a blindside flank or a wing or someone faster standing in at the edge. But even if that lock had folded or got into next to the breakdown, they would have ended up with the whole front row as the last three guys, which leaves them with no...
Quick word on Kobus Reinach at the tender age of what, he's 36 now?
36, 35.
The pace, he's playing some of his best rugby.
And I think it's a genius signing by you guys to bring him to Cape Town. He's been phenomenal. And not just in 2 games, in 3-4 games. Since he's been given that starting berth, he's been phenomenal. Every part of his game, John, he's kicking his pinpoint.
Yep.
His ability to break the line, his service, and he's forming a brilliant relationship with Sacha.
And obviously they'll just play together more at the Stormers. This one, we get penalised. Fair call?
Yeah,
just going around the corner.
Yeah, what refs always want to see is both sides going forward. And I think, Gerard overpowered the tight head and went too quickly, wasn't patient enough in terms of waiting for Thomas there.
There was a bit of a shift in terms of the momentum, them getting the penalty, and then even here, line out in our own 22, but I thought this was a brilliant read and steal from Lood.
We said a nice little chop. You see the guy in the middle of the line out calling number 4. He looks, he sees the space, but Sia's actually waiting at the back there to step in as A6 comes in. So now all of a sudden, where he thinks there's space, there's no space.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And pot goes up.
And can I ask a question? If Sia steps in, do one of our other guys have to step out, even though it's a defensive line?
Yeah,
because then we got numbers on them.
No, but also their 6 enters as well.
They guys have to.
Yeah. So one of theirs has to drop out as well.
Yeah.
So is Peter Steff the guy there who's supposedly stepping out if Sia
Yes,
steps in?
it's the same thing, but it happens so quickly that most of the time you're either going to set up a maul if you're on the attacking side. If you're defending, you're going to help take Sia's role in defending the vacuum. Okay. So
but somebody has to come out.
100%.
But
so
great steal. Great steal from Lood. And then we can exit from there again. Now, talking about Lood, you kind of watch this in real time. Ramos attacks a little bit. You play on, they have a go on the outside channel. And I watched this in real time, didn't see much going on. And then they paused it. And it didn't look good. Especially when you slow it up like that. Lood's body height is spectacular. To be able to get that low, your views on that call?
I probably would have sent it to the bunker because I really feel the height of the French player creates a little bit of mitigation.
There is mitigation, yeah.
So yellow card, go to the bunker, and then they make a decision.
Then we'll be like, okay, they've really looked long and hard about it on it.
But you can even go red card. You can even go say red and send it to the bunker. Correct?
No, I'm
not.
Good question.
I'm not sure.
I think you can even go red,
and then
send it to the bunker, and then they can say, okay, it is red, or bring it down to yellow. But at least then you have that, the 20-minute...
But he said permanent.
He said permanent.
And he was, if you listen to that, the referee's conversation, he wasn't actually looking to send him off permanently.
Yeah.
He said, yellow card bunker, and then the Georgian ref said, no, the arm is tucked. You know what I mean? So I think that's probably a permanent red card.
Quickly your views on the officiating on the weekend. I thought Angus Gardner, he's had his bad games, whatever. I think he has grown tremendously as a referee. Yeah. I thought the way that he handled the game, the maturity he showed, the communication with both teams, I actually thought in such a high-pressure game, I thought it was really well handled. And even that situation, I thought was well handled.
Yep.
You need to take all the information and then make a decision accordingly.
Absolutely agree. He added value to the whole spectacle, you know, and he communicated effectively with the players live or during the breaks. I thought he was brilliant. You know, that was just the one decision that could be, you know, debated, and you know, otherwise it was a top performance from him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, gentlemen. Second half. Then we knew that we'd play with only 14 for 40 minutes. This tactic we saw repeatedly from the Boks.
Again, John, you know, changing the picture all the time. You know, the French just don't know what's coming their way. So an old school, you know, Gary Owen from a set piece, and they actually repeated it. They did it again.
Yeah, I think we did it like 3 times in a row, where
You know.
the execution wasn't that great on a couple of occasions, but you could see that it was very clear. We brought the risk down a little bit in
Yes.
terms of our expansive game because we won short, and we got the reward. The Frenchies, I thought, you know, they had one set where they were able to get, you
find a
know,
bit of space.
again, they went the physical route.
Yeah.
You know, they were a little bit more fresh. They went route 1 and then eventually got the
and
space
it's-
on the
it's
outside
classic-
channels as
it's
well.
Classic French style rugby,
Yeah.
right? You know, a mixture of coming through the middle and a few pick and goes, 1 or 2 little pop passes from their forwards, you know, just to
Just
attack
shifting
it down
the-
another
yeah.
channel. You know, this is when the French are at their best. You know, their forwards are going forwards, you know, forward, and the backs are getting a little bit of space to put us under pressure. So it's classic French style rugby. The key here is just the little tip-ons, you know.
Yeah.
Just getting in between the Bok defence. You know, it's tough when you've got a rush defence. You're relying on a lot of big single hits, but they're starting to wedge in between us, and they're starting to find some space. Yeah, I mean, look, for me here, if you look from this angle here now, you'll see Damien Willems's work rate there. He's stuck on the touchline.
Yeah.
And he's the one who forces the final error now. And it's just phenomenal work rate from him to shut that down.
Yeah, you can see him working across there. You know, they've now identified the space on the outside.
You know, he's that
Boom.
man. Yeah.
Catching the ball.
Yeah.
So again, the French strategically trying to get the upper hand on us, but defensively we were actually so solid, and I don't think we give enough credit sometimes to our defensive efforts. We stick to what we know. Our work rate is massive always. This was massive as well. 47 minutes into the game, making the substitutions, big substitutions. You don't have Sia. Now you're taking some of your other leaders off, Damien Delendi, Eben Etzebeth,
Massive calls.
you know, Thomas de Toy, and this guy, he was phenomenal.
Yeah,
He was phenomenal in the role that he fulfilled.
Yeah. Look, it makes a massive difference. You know, you watch a scrum, if it's our ball, they'll have him at flank. We look for that penalty. If it's their ball, he's out in
Yeah.
the back line, making sure we can defend, and we're still getting penalties, scrum penalties, even though he's not there. You know, then he's in the mall.
This was a weird-ish exit for us, kicking off 10, or was it just execution again, Flecky?
For me, that looks like an execution error there.
Just off
You
the
know, it's
side of
come
the
off the
foot.
side of the boot. I think that they were looking to go to touch there, and they will contest their line out because we started to get a bit of ascendancy there. So I think that's just the execution error. But I get your point. You know, why not just
Stick to
you know
what's
stick
working.
at what's worked with Reinach? You know, kicking off 9. You know, he's kicking brilliantly well. Just an execution error, I think.
Because again, even though the execution wasn't there and maybe not the way we wanted to go, you know, every single guy gets back into
we
their
scramble well,
responsibility. You scramble, the work rate is there,
Yep.
and eventually you force them into making mistakes. So not the way we wanted it to go, but still you've made 40 meters.
Yeah, absolutely.
So not a bad result.
No, not at all. You
But
know, like-
the same result you could have had the same result with a lesser risk execution in play.
I mean, if you remember that kick against Japan in our 22, where he miskicked it inside
Yeah.
as well. Sort of similar picture, where we start fixing the problem before the contact happens.
Yes.
Other subs as well. Mani comes onto the field. Sacha moves to fullback, and we see a charge down immediately. They get 3 points from it. Were you a little bit worried, getting worried at this stage with 20 minutes to go? Or was it just...
I felt we were still in control.
Agreed.
You know, there will be a mistake then there. I don't think that pass was really good. He still spun around.
Yeah.
I think in the future, maybe just take contact. Let the forwards come
Correct.
and consolidate.
Yeah. Don't follow an area with an error.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Mani's the type of guy where even though he conceded 3 points there, you know, he kind of rubs it off or you know, and just moves on onto the next task.
Yeah.
The kick, I think it was this actual kick. We got the penalty, we didn't go for the 3 points. Kick to the corner, it was pinpoint, 5 meters out. Couldn't score from the maul, but I mean, this is where the momentum certainly came our way.
Yeah.
Started to come our way.
I always tell the backs or the kickers the importance of putting that kick on the 5.
Yeah.
Because 1 meter makes a massive difference there. You know, and I thought Mani did really, really well. We got really close, and penalty, now we can
Free go at it.
operate. Yeah.
And obviously we saw the yellow card from here.
Yeah. Boom.
There was a hand to it, so it's a yellow card, yes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely yellow card. Could it have been a penalty try?
I think most, you know, people would say yes, you know, it should have been a penalty try because there's a clear pathway, you know, to the try line. But there is that one last French defender in the picture or the frame, which will lead the officials to say no penalty try.
Yeah.
But on any day, that's, you know, he's going straight through under the poles.
Yeah, Jesse's probably scoring for you. He's probably scoring himself,
Yeah, no, absolutely.
you know?
The refs will always use the language of was there a player in a position to make a tackle after that, you know, so...
Well, he's not really in a
He's
position.
not, but...
Look how far he is, but
he is
he's
there.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately that is clear that it is yellow card. There you see the guy coming into the screen,
What a pass.
onto the screen. Yeah,
Pass
great.
from Mani, yeah.
Great pass from Mani.
Imagine if we had flowers like that.
Then just the pressure, the maul working, and it is the guy scoring the try. It's the hybrid.
The hybrid. And the role that he's actually playing there is really impressive because he's like the ripper. He's a guy punching right in the middle of the maul, and it takes so much timing. You can't just have anyone there. You know, we train one guy, Paul de Villiers, he has done it a lot. But look at him, just the timing.
You need a feel for it.
Exactly, but geez, he clearly has it.
But that's why it helps converting the backs to forwards because they have the,
Well, not all of them want to stick their heads in the dark
No,
spaces. So.
none of them. None of them
Certainly
actually.
won't catch me there.
Another guy that was just so impressive, Flecky, Malcolm Marks.
Playing vintage rugby at the moment. He's been for every single breakdown. We spoke about him last week against Japan, won a couple of turnovers this weekend again. Between him and Visser, they're just completely dominating the breakdown, attack and defence. And he's playing phenomenal rugby.
10 minutes left in the game. You know, we 1 point up. We get the penalty. We decide to rather go for the line out than the 3 points, which again justified because we knew that they didn't have the winger there.
Yeah, and we've just got a maul try, so they're going to throw in all their forwards in there to try stop that.
So to that point of Rito, stop there, Jean. You will see now the intermax. So because all the forwards are in that, stopping that maul, intermac comes in and sets on the open side at guard first.
Well,
But
that's actually Barassi. That's the centre.
No.
Just
Go
move
back.
over.
Go back. So if you go back, intermac is there. Firstly on that open side, and that's where he normally would be if all the forwards climb in, right? But because the winger has been sent off, he realizes that he has to join Luca, is it? On the short side.
Yeah.
So firstly he comes in here, and that's what he does, right, Rito? Stop it there. That's what he's got to do firstly. But now he understands he has to go to the blind side.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now that creates the confusion on the open side for Williams to now to
Because you feeling, as a backline player, you feeling vulnerable for the outside, all the space you need to
100%,
cover.
yeah.
And then it just opens, and then you start forgetting about what's going on the
And
inside.
now you've got a centre checking at close to the maul, and it's not really his role, and they're worried about the outside threat. They shoot out of a line.
And he was offside already, not behind the last man.
Again, the pace of our nines. You know, we spoke about Reinach, but this guy as well, electrifying.
I think he's amazing off the bench. What he brings, it's his kicking game is there, his passing game, but that running threat, whether it's at 9 or at wing, he's a phenomenal player.
I mean, because both those guys can easily slot into the back three as well.
But critical yellow card, John. I think there were 12 points scored while.
Yeah, with the yellow card.
Yep.
Correct. And then it was damn well broken, 8 points up.
Oh.
And I think the Frenchies was so deflated after that. We knew, look at the Felix Jones in between the guys.
Yeah.
And we played, we just kept going with our processes, right?
Yeah.
So setting for the box kick, where we spoke earlier about not going to 10, still box kicking because we're getting the reward.
But
you get it back.
Smart. And incredibly smart from Mani now, because he knows there's a yellow card. We brought their 15 up, so there's space at the back.
Yeah.
The left wing is gone. They're short of numbers, and then we create that space again. Just again, everyone is on the same page. Just
100%.
understanding where the space is.
Yeah.
Identifying the opportunity, identifying the space, and then getting the ball into that space.
Absolutely. So just think about how that pack is running. Look at their locks.
Yeah. No, they're not even.
They're out of it.
They're
Look,
not liking.
now we might have to scrum, boys.
That's the worst thing. You're running shuttles. And then when the shuttles are done, now we have to go scrum as well.
Exactly. And I must say, the Springboks look really conditioned for that type of game.
Yeah.
They can run, and in the middle of that, they can get into a scrum and a more.
So, Jean, again, for me, Tony Brown's influence, I think, if you can go back, please, on this. Again, to Rito's point, the pack is gassed. There they've used the winger, Berberry, is that his name?
Yeah, Berry,
to defend into the vacuum, okay, which is fine. You get that extra number to the vacuum. We changing pictures. We're mauling them. We're scoring tries from mauls. Now we're going into vacuum players, chip kicks, whatever the case may be. But the key thing here is that he doesn't, again, make a tackle and split out into the blind or to go cover the return side. So if you watch the red scrum cap, he stays in the front line the whole time. Rito made that point. If you're in a tackle, you've got to work to the blind side, but he stays in the front line. That's not his job. Now Luca is all on his own. And there's Sacha, you can see his head. Yeah. He notices the space there now. Now it's game on. And it's a bad defensive error from the French side that is fatigued and making poor decisions, and that is an outstanding rugby try. But I'm pretty sure, Rito, that Tony Brown would have identified that as an opportunity pre-game, saying that the wing is defending in the vacuum, that he's potentially following 100%. The ball in the first line. There could be return plays.
Let's come back there. Yeah, no, definitely. One thing I want to add, boys, we talked about the yellow card and us scoring, 12 points?
Yeah.
We still had the red card as well. So it was 14v14.
Yeah.
What I want to say, Jean, is that all these beautiful plays and us being short one man, let's not forget we've got an off-the-ball coach.
Yeah.
Imagine, look at the work rate of a stick.
Yeah.
All these guys we one man short, but they work off the ball, getting into position, chasing the kick.
Seven's mindset.
Exactly. The guys know that, geez, I'm going to be measured on how I get back into position, how I chase forward.
Great call.
And I think it's really, really impressive in how Stick has created that sevens mindset with this pack as well, working off the ball, getting into position quickly.
Great call.
Guys, Flip, we've actually got so much still to talk about, but we've run out of time. A quick one, our WeBuyMoment of the week. A try, a tackle, a carry. Who would you go for?
I'll give it to the hybrid, scoring a maul try.
That's a good call.
That's not an easy thing to do. Yeah. What he did there, his timing and the height, I would give it to him.
Is a WeBuyMoment including the tactics from the coaching staff in terms of how they brought that bomb squad on?
You can give it to your son if you want.
Thank you. So I would say the management of the bench coming on and making such a difference in that game.
So we're going to give it to Andre Estes and the management team and CFO is under. Combined. Okay, guys, quickly, it is called The Verdict. Give us your honest verdict on that game. Out of 10, how do we score the Boks?
I would give him a 9. One man short, 9.5, if anything. I can't ask any.
9.5?
9.5.
9.5 it is. The only reason we're not giving it 10 is because we want a 10 out of 10 performance against Ireland and Italy and Wales. 9.5 out of 10. I think that's fair. Phenomenal performance. If we can replicate that against any team in the world, it's very difficult to see us ever losing. We've run out of time, guys. Quick one, Scotland putting up a brave fight against New Zealand, but New Zealand's still good, good enough to get that through. Italy shocking Australia. Quick views on that game this weekend, South Africa versus Italy. We've got 30 seconds.
Yeah, we've played Italy enough times. They know us, we know them, but I think our template is so good at the moment. The way we play, you can play as much as you want, but you won't be able to handle that intensity of how we chase, how we kick onto your side and attack you in the breakdown. So I think, it will be a very tough game for Italy.
Yeah. We will definitely see some changes to our team, but I mean, Italy made it tough for us in July when they
did,
South Africa.
but the changes don't matter now, right? I mean, everyone's got the experience. They know how to play this game. I think it's going to be a big one, big score.
Lovely, guys. Thank you very much for joining me once again. What a fantastic performance from the Boks. You join us for Boks Unpacked on Friday with Shimmy and Skulk back in action. We'll hear all the stories from France. I'm sure that'll be very entertaining. Please also make sure that you subscribe to our channel. If you are subscribed, you'll get that notification. You won't miss a thing. Boks versus Italy this weekend. You can obviously watch that live on SuperSport. So thank you very much for signing in and watching this episode of The Verdict. Hope you enjoyed it. Flecky, Rito, thank you very much to you two. You will definitely be invited back again. And let's hope for another fantastic performance from the Boks this weekend. They never, ever disappoint. Cheers.